just me and my guitar.
Hey, what's happening guys? Mark back here on Mark's Aquatics. We're having a look at the little mini pond. I just thought I'd have a quick look in here. Just come into the shed. We're about to do part 3 of the shrimp tank build and trickle filter build. We're going to be planting it up today, doing the egg crate. We're going to be putting some Java fern on there, some Java moss on there, some Anubias nana, subwazatang, and chucking in some other little plants as well. But I just thought I'd show you how the little mini pond was coming on. Working really well still. We've got a load of shrimp in here. If you can see down the bottom there by the wood, I'll try and get a bit closer for you. As you can see down there, we've got a right little bunch of little tiger stripe prawns. Some have got like quite a dark stripe down the back, others have got a little bit of a golden stripe, some are quite tiger striped. And they are the offspring of the Bloody Marys and the yellow sakuras that you can see in there. When they get together and have a party, they throw these little guys out, which are quite interesting. I actually think they're brilliant. Some of them have got berries already. There's about 4 or 5 females in there with berries on already, so we'll see how they come out, see what hatches out from them. We're going to leave them in this little pond and just to see what happens. It's going to be quite interesting. There's quite a few around in here now. And we've still got a couple. I've got a couple. There's a little endler in there. I'm not sure if you can see. He's just swimming off. Right there is one of the baby koi. There's 4 of the baby koi that we hatched out from eggs in this little mini pond now. So it is probably the smallest koi pond in the world at the moment. But we're going to bring them on, and then as they get a little bit bigger, they're going to go into the outside pond, and then in the end they're going to go into the shed, into my main koi room, which is the other half of the workshop here, where I've got the where I keep the big koi in there. I'll take you in there and we'll throw some food at them in a minute as well, before we start on this build, just to give you a little update and a quick catch up on how they're going. But we've got 4 little koi in there now. You can just see one there, little mouthing away. There he goes. But they're in there with the shrimp. They don't worry the shrimp at all. They seem to all get on all right, share the same food, and they don't seem to worry each other at all. They're not going to be in here forever. I think probably about maybe another month, and I'll be taking them out, putting them in a smaller tank, chilling them down before they go into the outside pond. Or I might have another tank in the shrimp room that I can put them in. You can just see that one coming out again. He's outgrown the rest. But anyway, well, that's what those. We're going to see what these little guys throw out now. It'll be quite interesting to see what babies they have and what coloration they come out at. Interesting stuff. Right, I'm going to set you up on the tripod now. In fact, before we do that, we'll shoot off into the koi room, and I'll just show you the koi, and we'll throw a few beans in there because they're starving, and I can hear them shouting for their breakfast. Good morning, gang. Come on then. They know the sound of their little food call. Everyone's looking nice and healthy. Chuck some of those in for them. They've grown quite a bit this summer. Some of the other guys are outside sunbathing still. So they're colouring up nice, really looking nice now. Right, let's get on with this shrimp tank build, part 3. Right guys, our little task today. Got to have the old coffee with me, as you all know. Right, today we're going to make these little panels. We've got the PVC panels, which is the old PVC egg crate, which we've taken back out of the shrimp tank now. And we're going to coat it in Java moss and some Java fern and a couple of little bits of Anubias as well. Anubias nana, like I said we were going to do last time. Now we're going to put it on with cotton, and I'll just show you how I'm going to do it first. What I've got, if you're a fisherman or you know anyone who's a fisherman, you can get one of these. This is like a baiting needle, it's called, okay? So what you do is you'd spike. You've got a spike on the end there. You put your spike through your food, so all your food's on there, and then you turn it over, and in some rigs you've got the hook there, okay, and then you've got a little bit of line coming off. It's called a hair rig, and then you've got a little loop at the bottom. So what you do is you hook that little loop over that little hook. I'm not sure if I'll have to put it in front of my hand for it to focus on it. See, it's like a little there. So what you do is you hook your line in there, in that little loop, close that little door, and then you slide all your bait up, and it pops up onto that little bit of catgut there, and then you pop it off the end. You put a little plug through like that, a little stopper, and then you can pull it all back down again, and that's called a hair rig. So your bait is all floating around there, and your hook's up there, so when they suck that bait in, the old hook goes flying in their mouth as well, and then you get the bite, you strike, and you reel them in. Fantastic little bit of kit. You can buy these at tackle shops. They're really handy, just called a baiting needle. You can pick them up on eBay, probably for about, oh, probably under £1. Really cheap, and they're really handy little things to have, because what we do is we get our cotton. You can get a nice length of cotton off there. Put that around there like that. And then basically just tie a little fisherman's knot in there. Hook that in there like that. Give that a couple of turns around. You're going to pinch that end there, pull that end up, and that little knot then will shoot down onto there, and you'll get a little blood knot, which is like a little mini hangman's noose, if you can see it around there, and that's nice and tight on there now. Then you can get the old skizzers and just nip that off, and now we've got just like a giant needle and thread. So we can poke that now through there, backwards and forwards, and thread all that moss on and lightly tie it all over it. And then given time, that will adhere itself, and the little micro roots will attach itself all over that, and we'll end up with some nice a nice little living background, which is what I want to try and recreate on this one. I've done it before in tanks in the past, and it looks absolutely fantastic. And what I'm going to do, these two bits fit together just like that inside the tank. That's the way they were cut, and they joined up nicely. So we're just going to lay the moss. We've got quite a lot of it here. There's some bits of leaves and stuff in amongst it. What I've got in my in the shrimp room, in one of the base tanks in the bottom, I just put all this moss, and it's some lovely stuff, it really is. But what we want to do is we just want to tease it all apart as much as we can. You don't want to bunch moss up too much. That's one thing I will say, and you probably heard me say it on other videos as well. If you bunch it up too much, you'll get a bit of dieback underneath, which you don't want, because otherwise that's going to be adding nitrates to the water, any rot, any decay like that. You want to minimise it if you can. You're going to get a few snails in amongst it as well, if you're like me and you keep snails with your in your systems. But they're all good little guys. They'll help you out. They'll clean up all that algae. We'll just move that one apart. We've got to do this in two halves, so we'll do this small panel first. And we'll just tease it all out like that, and then keep it light. Now you want to go really light, okay guys, with this, so you can near enough see through it like that. Then you're going to get some nice water flow going through it, which is going to aid in that growth, and it'll start to stick. And then you can just, every now and again, you can just trim down with your scissors all over it, like you've seen me do on other videos, and you can create a nice lush carpet of moss. Okay, so now you know what I'm going to do. Also, I'm going to stick some of these. I've got a big bunch of these as well, which grow like crazy, the old Java ferns, and you can tease these little guys apart. You see, you've got individual plants. These roots are brilliant still. The leaves aren't fantastic, but we can nip them off, and those little nodes at the end there will soon start producing new leaves. So we're going to put the odd one of those in amongst it as well, just to let you know. So I'll speed things up, and we'll be teasing all these apart and putting them on in certain areas to create the effect we're looking at. And with these, if you get, they just grow out in singles formation like that. You see, you get one rhizome there, and they'll keep growing off it, and they keep going up like that, and they'll keep covering everything. So it's very simple to do. If you want to just get one, you just snip it off there. You can just pull out an individual plant. If you want a single plant, you can nip one off like that, and you'll see there's little bits of root on there. You can tie that to something, you can trim that old leaf off, and before you know it, down at the base they'll be pushing out new little leaves. Okay, so they're very easy to propagate. Any dying leaves like that you can take out, I would do, just to get rid of them. All these little bits in here I'll probably just take out. All that is just bits of old leaf that the shrimp have left, just the skeletons of the leaf. You see, they've picked out all the main part of the leaf that they like to eat. That's all gone soft and that's decayed down, created that biofilm and that rotting in that decaying process, and they've eaten that all up, which is what our little shrimps are famous for doing. Little clean-up crew. Right, so I'll speed you up now. We'll put on some funky music, I think, and we'll get these two panels rigged up, and then we'll get these two panels rigged up, and we'll get back into the tank, which has been running fantastic since part 2, and we'll put them in there and we'll see what they look like. Okay, guys. Done. Looking quite funky down there. It's going to look a bit holy for a while, but give that a month or so and it'll green up lovely. We put some subwazatang in there as well. I had quite a lot of that in the shrimp room, so we've taken some of that. We've harvested a bit of that away with the Java moss and the Java fern as well, so we'll have some nice growth on there, and it'll fill in lovely in time. So right, I'm going to pop these in the tank now, and then we'll have a look. Okay guys, there you go, we've put them in the tank. We've got the RO dripping in there nice and slowly now. I've got some media here from which I've already which I've got from one of my systems, so it's nice cycled media, so we're going to help speed up the process as well, which is good. So I'll put that in, and then we'll go from there. Okay, that's the media in. I'm using JBL And we've just got a nice bit of Malaysian driftwood here, which I'm using as a little pokey stick. We're going to get a bit of clouding in the water, but not to worry, we'll soon sort that out later on. This is all beneficial bacteria and things from the old system which we're adding to the to this tank, so I'm not too fussed at all on getting a bit cloudy, because what we'll do is we'll just, once it's all settled in amongst everything and it settles down, we can do a couple of water changes again and we'll remove some of that cloudiness. And that won't take long to clear at all. As you can see, it's just dripping in there through the top, through that thin slice that we've put there when we made the trickle filter. And what I've got here, I've got a bucket of water down by the side of me. I've got 25 litres of nice RO water, which I put out last night, which has been running overnight with a ball valve on it, so that's stopped nice and full to the tops. And we've had the heater in there and we've got that up to about 21 degrees. But it's going to take too long for you guys to watch, so I'm going to speed things up for you, okay? Okay guys, there you go, we're full of water now as far as I want to go. I just want to leave a nice little trickle coming through the bottom there, and that'll just oxygenate that water just enough for what we want, and obviously the plants and things are going to release oxygen as well. So it's all going well. It's starting to clear up already. That filter floss that we put in the top there and the little sponge pre-filter in there is starting to remove that dust quite quickly, as well as it's settling in amongst the gravel again itself. But what we're going to do, we're going to pan around now. I've got this lovely big chunk of driftwood here, and I got some subwaza tang, and I got some java moss out of one of the other tanks as well. I've had this for quite some time, this piece of wood, and I thought what a nice place to put it, because what I want to do, if I pan back there, I want to put it in that corner there and put some stuff around it just so it hides the pump, and we can camouflage that with a few plants and a bit of wood and make it look all a bit more natural. So we'll come back this way now and we'll go down, and I'll show you how I do this bit of work here. Now if you get your cotton, you're probably all familiar with this anyway, but for those of you who aren't, you just get your cotton and you just give it a couple of over the top knots like that, just to fasten him in. I got there in the end, guys. Snip your little end off there, and then you've got your cotton going to, which is now attached to your wood, so you can reel the cotton in now. Now I just leave the wheel there, the bobbin there, full of cotton, and I'll just pull out some of the old subwazi stuff here and just gently tease it apart and lay it on the branch. A couple of little bits are going to fall off. Don't put this on very tight, you just want to literally start spiraling around. And just take that tension up very slowly, okay? And then you can just add little bits in as you go. Just turn that up a bit there now. And then just keep going round and round. Any little bits that fall off, you can just lay them on. And just go around and take another loop over the top. And then when you want to come to the end, if you just grab the cotton and put a loop in, put your 2 fingers like that, twist it like that, so you've got 1 loop, and then go over the top, and then you just do that. That's called a half hitch. Yeah, my old fishing days are coming back, look. And you do a couple of those, you keep doing them, and on the last one you can twist it a couple of times and that'll lock it off, and then that's nice and secure. Then snip that off and we've got 1 piece done there. So now what I'm going to do is do the rest and get back to you, okay guys? Okay guys, there you go. We've tied it all on. Tied it on where I want it to. Some of the ones had a nice little hole there, so I poked some of the subwazatang and a little bit of moss just into that hole, and that will soon grab hold and root itself to the wood, and it will start drawing the nutrients from the wood and start growing lovely now. So what we're going to do is now I'll just I'll pan you around, and we'll just pop this in the tank. Okay guys, there you go, it's in the tank, looking nice, and that filter's working lovely now. You can just see it now, just trickling away lovely underneath there. The media at the top there, the sponge, the floss at the top there, starting to get a bit of muck in it, but it's starting to polish that water up nicely. And we'll just go down a bit now and we'll show you the a bit more of the underwater side of things. Yeah, it's coming together nice, that is now guys. Yes, quite happy where that's turned out so far. Clearing up nicely now. I think what we'll do now, we'll let it settle in. I'll give it a couple of hours and then we'll pop back in a couple of 2 or 3 hours time and see how clear it is then, and see what it looks like a little bit clearer. Okay there guys, there you go, it's cleared up, absolutely magic, look at that, crystal clear. We left that going for about 3 or 4 hours, and that little filter that we made has pulled out all that cloudiness out of the water and polished it up lovely. And we've got a nice little start of a tank there now, so we'll just have a little recap on what we've done. We've got the JBL media in the bottom there, which is all pre-seeded with bacteria from an existing system. The wood's come out of another old system as well, so that's already biologically sound. The backing with all the moss, the Anubias, Nana and the Java fern, all out of other systems as well. So we've got a really good kickstart on the biological action in this tank. We put some floating hyacinth in there as well, which I believe that it's not going to be allowed to be sold in the UK anymore. So my local fish shop tells me they're not allowed to buy it anymore because it's been blocking up waterways or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. but that's what they were telling me down there, so I'm glad I got some, so I can carry on propagating it and moving it around. But I think it's looking really nice now. It's coming on well. We've got a lovely shimmer in there from the little aqua ray tile which we've got up on the workshop roof, which we've put on there. Probably going to make some other things now to go in the tank. We've made the little oxidator already. There's already a video on the oxidator. If you haven't seen that, it's a two-part thing. Go back and have a look at that if you're unfamiliar with that. But that's going to be going in the tank, and we'll probably be making a few more things to go in there to smarten it up as it cycles through. And we'll probably be doing another couple of water changes on it the next couple of days, just partial water changes, keeping on top of it, doing our little tests and seeing where everything is and where the levels are. We've got to remineralise the water. I'm not sure, it's around about 100 at the moment, I think, with the soil in there, with the aqua soil. And I'm going to try and get that up to around 160 to 165 on the TDS, which I like to keep my crystal blacks and crystal reds in. That's what I keep them in the main system anyway, in the shrimp room. Anyway guys, I hope you liked phase 3 of this little shrimp tank build from a £15 tank which I got off eBay. And like I say, if this is the first one you've tuned into, there's 2 more parts going back where we started, where I bought the tank, and we've made the pre-filter. We've made this filter at the back up there, which is working away brilliantly, just dripping away nicely. We've got a really nice slow flow going down through the tank, no turbulence, which is what you don't really want turbulence in a shrimp tank. You want it to be nice and quiet in there for them to just creep around. Minimal flow, but make sure you get a good flow around, but very, very minimal. That's what I tend to do in my shrimp room, and it works very well for me, and they're breeding well. And we've got some beautiful shrimp in there now. And I think what we'll do, I think I might make this into like a little show tank, I think, for the workshop, and we'll be choosing some of the nicest shrimp that I've got and putting them in here at a later date when it's all cycled and ready for them. Anyway guys, hope you liked episode 3. If you're new to the channel, like I say, nip back, have a look at the other stuff I've done. It might encourage you to subscribe to the channel, and as always, you're all stars. Look after yourselves, be safe, and I'll see you on the next episode of Mark's Aquatics. Bye for now.
Just me and my guitar.